Oh, tamam, canlı yayındayız. Güzel. Seri bir şekilde canlı yayına girdik çünkü az önce siren geldi. Tamamdır. Hemen başladık. Seri bir şekilde ben de bizimkilere haber salayım.
And stuff like that. So, based on that, you're not kidding. There's been like an addition of 3,000 people watching all.
Evet, Alporgun hoş geldin. Barış'ım hoş geldin.
I'm sure are tuning in. So thank you to everybody for joining us for this test. Hopefully we get to see some raptor fire here in just a moment. Indeed we do. I know the big question is that a lot of people are going to be the timings, like how far away are we from the static fire based on the siren? We would be anticipating anything.
Az önce siren geldi. Güzel. 15 kişi olmuşuz. Hepiniz yeniden hoş geldiniz.
And 104 just about. But it could come at any time now. So we're going to kind of pause on
T10, hatta ondan da az.
But keep them coming because we've still got a long way to go in our test window after this is done. Here, the test window is open until 8 p.m. local time, and we still have Ship 24 on the suborbital pad. That we've got some indications that.
3 motor net bu arada, kesin var. Bana da öyle geliyor Latif. Hadi bakalım.
Do keep your questions coming. We will get to them. We're just going to take a brief pause on answering them.
5 geçe ateşlenecek. 5 geçe mi duruyor? Hadi bakalım. 5 geçirse güzel. O zaman şöyle yapalım mı? Hadi abi. Üstünde ateşlensin. Yaklaşık 3-4 motordan püflent gördüm. Bak. 4'tür umarım. Hadi hocam 4 olsun. 4 olsun, güçlü olsun. Bak. Daha demin yayını kapattım, hemen duşa girip geldim. Saçım da ıslak şimdi. Bunun şerefi ne olur bence.
The vent sort of petering out like we saw with some of the previous tests. But we are basically, when we've heard the siren has happened. Mary heard it, reported it to us. Thank you again to her for that. And now we're just sort of waiting to see.
Artık abi bekleyeceğiz, göreceğiz. Hadi bakalım.
Less than a minute, potentially. Less than a minute. Thank you so much to the 21,000 of you who are here watching it. This should be a very interesting and a very important test firing here. Because based on what we're seeing, the possibility
33 olsun, bizim olsun hocam. Hadi bakalım. Mucizeyi arıyoruz burada ama sanmam.
But about 25 seconds away from the opening of when the static fire might actually happen. But again, there's
uçağın merkez motor 10 saniye statik mis. Haydi bak buna içilir. Buna içecek bir şey yok.
Just in case we're 10 seconds away, let's
sanmıyorum ya. Belki de belli olmaz. Frederick Scheller, çok teşekkür ederim. Evet. Üşenmeyip daha demin bir Photoshop çalışması yapıyordum da bir anda yani baktım siren geldi. Yandan açıktı yayın. Dedim açayım ya, neyse, ne olur ne olmaz ya, boşa gitmesin dedim. Açtım. Asıl ben teşekkür ederim izlediğiniz için. Giriş yapmadan direkt hızlıca girdik. Devam yayının. Öncekini sileriz. Sıkıntı yok. Önemli olan burası.
You've got our zoomed in shot here on the left, and you've got our wider shot out on the right there, to try and cover all angles of this. But moments away from a static fire here.
Hocam hadi.
What we think is a static fire here of booster number 7. Yep, standing by.
Şu an beklemedeyiz artık. Herhalde vakit mi geldi?
It's like I'm afraid to talk. I know, right?
Hadi hocam. Hadi mutlu et bizi. Mutlu et de bize. Artık ilerlediğini görelim şu aracın ya. Şu aracın artık daha fazla motorunu çalıştığını görmek istiyorum. Ama soğutma gelmedi ya. Adem. Bakın evet, şimdi şey geldi NSF'e. Daha demin işte su sistemi, işte ses bastırma sistemi ne olacak diye. Yani normalde yörünge altı rampasında, yani yörünge altı uçuş rampalarında şey oluyor. Ateşlemeden birkaç saniye önce su çıkmaya başlıyor. Burada da olacak mı öyle bir şey bakalım diye bir şey muhabbet döndü NSF'de. Bakalım. Doğukan Rezal 3 ana merkez motor. Hadi bakalım. Bak buna güzel olur.
Here's a way that we can make it. One like if you haven't liked our stream equals a static fire, guys. I wish we could patch in mission control audio and know what's going on over at Stargate.
Same. But again, if that siren's correct, we are definitely very, very close to the window when we might expect to see an engine ignition if all is going well with this test, based on the siren and the overpressure notice that Mary got.
Şu anda yakın olmamız lazım. Ya şu an Mami bu bünyenin ihtiyacı var abi. Bu bünyenin bir yörünge uçuşuna ihtiyacı var. Ya şöyle yapalım. Standing by hadi abi, standing by. Ben de büyük monitörden izliyorum. Böyle bir saniye. HD diyor abi, HD. En kalitelisi, en iyisi, hadi.
A minute just about to go until 104, which would be 10 minutes after the siren.
Bunun üstte bir Starship'e gider. Ben diyeyim. Şu an yakınız abi. Şu an her an olabilir. Her an. Bir veya 2 dakika mı? Tamam. 1 veya 2 dakika. Her an o da. O da her an oluyor. Hocam bak buzlar falan yere düşmeye başladı. Hadi bak artık bıçak kemiğe dayandı. O raptorların ateşlenmesi lazım. O 3 raptorun artık hangi biri ise ateşlenmesi gerekiyor. Geldi. Ne uzun ateşlemeydi bu arada. Güzel. Güzel. Çok güzel.
That was amazing.
There we go. That definitely looked like multiple engines to me.
3 motor. Net 3 motor. Net 3 motor.
Fire coming down from underneath that booster, which means it definitely looks like we lit more than one. Hooray.
Oh, hadi bir daha.
It looked like 3.
Hadi bir daha.
Yes.
It also felt kind of like a long firing too. Like that was
hem uzun hem fazla motordu. Bu çok iyi bir şey abi. Çok iyi.
That seemed like a good 5-7 seconds. Just about. I didn't have my exact eye on the clock, but it's Adrian saying 6 in our back channel.
Alacağım. Bir saniye. Bekle bakalım.
And definitely.
Detank var mı yok mu? Detank var mı yok mu? Hadi.
Got fired. So that would at the very least be the first multiple engine static fire on Booster 7 and the first multiple engine firing on the orbital launch mount as well.
Gotta love it. And,
Gotta love it.
If it was in fact 3 engines, then you know what? The thrust was 3. So the prophecy has been fulfilled.
There we go. Yes, the prophecy has been fulfilled. Yeah, but it definitely could have been 3. Like we're just.
Tamam, şimdi geri alabiliriz. Sadece depres yapma bak. Depres yapma. Sabaha kadar açık olmaya razıyım. En azından ateşleyelim motorları. Evet, şimdi analizimize başlayalım mı abi? Ben de masum gözüküyor. Çok güzel. Analiz yapmaya başlayalım mı? 05. Şimdi birazdan geliyor. 1, 2, 3. Sanki o ateşlenmemiş gibi mi yoksa? Sanırım o da ateşlendi. Yok, o sonra ateşleniyor gibi.
Press, yeah, that's a very good note in chat. Have not seen the depress, so we will continue to keep all of our eyes and attention on Booster 7 here, but all indications are that we definitely had a static fire of at least, it looks like 3 engines from 3 different rings underneath the booster.
Evet, sol ek geç ateşleniyor.
Just wow, and we'll work to look at our cameras and everything and figure out how many of them actually fired here. But the important thing here too today, this might not be the only static fire of the day.
Şimdi de şöyle yapabiliriz. Ben bir yandan çalışırken bir yandan nasıl yayını açık tutabiliriz? Ne dersiniz? Yapmam gereken işler var, hem de aynı zamanda iş de normal iş de yapabilirim.
Booster 7 could be fired a few more times. We could switch over to ship 24.
Şu an olay şu çünkü uzun bir zamanımız var. Depres yok. Ya hem ne derler? Hem depres yok hem Starship ateşlenebilir. Yörünge altı rampadaki buharlar yükseliyor. Yani yakıt deposundaki yakıt soğutulabilir. Aynı zamanda ateşlenebilir. Yani B'ye değil devam edebilirler. Göreceğiz. Ya ben yayını açık tutma
Jack,
taraftarıyım.
that was
Yayını
just
açık
really
tutacağım.
exciting. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, man, multiple engines on the orbital launch mount. What
I
a
have
day.
I have Starbase Live up, and I'm going back and watching it over and over and over again, and it really does. It looks like 3 engines, one from each ring, and it was a staggered startup.
Evet, merkezde ama her şeyden
Then an inner ring,
her segmentten bir şey var gibi görünüyor.
You can see each individual plume of gas as each engine starts up. What a cool image, and what a cool test, which is exactly what we want to see as we.
Bir monitör elinese bir monitör değil. Zor olur. Olmaz. Sıkıntı yok. Bize zor gelmez ya. Barışım. Yani Starship ateşlensin yeterli. Her şeyi yaparım.
What an awesome thing to witness today.
Really, I mean, it really was. And like, you know, we talked about this a little bit earlier when we were beginning the stream today about the various processes that might be in play here today, how many engines were going to be fired. They had already fired 2 separate engines on 2 separate static fires earlier this month. And if you sort of like watch what they did with the ship, like
aynen, her halkanın bir tane ateşlendi gibi gözüküyor. Bu gayet güzel bir şey. Yani artık ya çünkü her halkanın sistemi farklı bu konuda. Ateşlenme konusunda. Tamam, şey hariç. İç halka hariç de, iç halka ve merkez motorları hariç, ama bu güzel bir şey.
Sort of a lot of data about what lighting 3 does. Right. So seeing them do 3 this time, not a huge surprise as a
Yoksa evet, şu anlık depres mi var? Yok, depres mi? Lütfen yarın yani yenileyecekleri şekilde olsun da.
All right, and there is our depress event at the end. And we are looking in the back channel just to make sure that we kind of saw the indications that all 3 actually ignited as intended there. So letting Alex and Adrian work on that in the back channel there. But 1:09 p.m. Central Time.
Yani şu an yani yakıt boşaltması geldi gibi ama tamam, bakacağız şimdi çünkü kısa sürdü. Daha da uzun sürebilir. Yani yarım depres gibi gözüküyor. Yarım depres de çok iyi.
Yeah, you know what?
But Alex is noting in the. Oh, sorry, but yeah, go ahead, Jack. Go ahead. Yeah.
It does look like the leftmost engine to attempt to start up did abort. It was a bit of a staggered start. Kind of hard to tell based on the other 2 engines kicking up a plume at that point, but it sort of, yeah, it looks like 2 engines actually fired and 1 aborted, which, you know, this is obviously a little bit of speculation. We're seeing.
Çünkü ateşlenmemişti o ama şimdi biraz daha bakınca.
What it looks like, which is an interesting outcome.
And of course, you know, what we're saying is like this is what it looked like to us. We're just going back and looking at our video to make sure, but that definitely seems to be our consensus, is that 3 aborted during its startup procedure. Well, the 3rd one aborted. It's not engine 3. Please don't make those jokes.
Oh God, 3 engines. Oh God, what have we done?
Evet, abort yemiş olabilir ya. Ya motorda sorun yoktur umarım, yoksa değiştirmeye gerekir.
What I'm trying to like get home on that is we're trying to do this based on visual indicators, and there was a lot of dust that was getting kicked up by the first 2 at that time. So that's why we're trying to be honest about what we saw, but you know, understanding that we need to hear what SpaceX has to say about what happened.
Bakalım
But
ne
they
olacak
definitely,
ya.
at the very least, based on what we saw, I mean, at least 2 of them fired for about 6 seconds, and that's really.
En sevindiğine göre 6 saniye şimdi aşağı yukarı. Evet, veri cidden iyisi güzel olabilir.
Yeah. Just behind the leg. I'm sort of looking at it, and I feel like more light, if that makes any sense. I feel like we should have seen more light be generated by raptor plume in that area.
Yeah. So again, like just commenting on what we saw on our cameras and just offering that out, but we will.
Yayın daha yeni başladı Tanker. Bir anda açtım. Çünkü anca şey oldu. Evet. Murat Akıncı ateşleme oldu. Yayını biraz geri sararak görebilirsin. Orada ateşlememiz oluyor. Yaklaşık 2 motor ateşlendi en azından. Yani onu kesin diyebiliriz ama üçüncüden kimse emin değil.
That's good.
Indeed. My thinking is behind the plume, at least for a bit, you can see the light coming from. You can see the light sort of, from each plume behind the dust and gas that is obscuring the view. But I don't see that from the leftmost engine, the outer ring engine that attempted to fire. So I don't know. I'm in team abort for one of the 3 engines, but we'll have to wait and see what more information we perhaps get.
Evet, aynen. Daha hala şey olduğu için kapatmıyorum yayını o yüzden. Ya tamamen yakıt boşaltılmadı. Bu yüzden hala bir ateşleme olacağını düşünüyorum şu anlık. Yani olursa buradayız. O yüzden yani bir yandan işim yapıp bir yandan şeye bakıyorum. Aynen, takipte kalmamız en iyisi olur.
Let's see. Yeah, here's one for you, Chris, while I go. Sir Bad Aim is saying staggered firing could have fired after dust kicked up. I assume they're talking about that leftmost outer ring engine there.
Yeah, and that would be sort of why we're saying like, hey, this is what we think we saw, right? But we need to see what SpaceX.
Gençliğimiz var, umudumuz var, hepsi var. Hepsi full şu an.
So I'm going to jump off and edit this video, and in my stead, I will leave you with Alex Alcantarilla Romero. Alex, what's up?
Romero. It's Romero.
Of course, I can't get it.
It's
right.
Different, yeah. It's
all right.
Things of the language. But yeah.
Things. I will be back sometime in the future.
Future. Sounds good. Alrighty here. Let us get back into it. Alex, what is your take on what we just saw? Let's start there.
Yeah, so we're actually talking about.
Belki yine olabilir Murat Bey. Yani şu andaki ona doğru daha iyi bir inancımız var. Bakalım, belki olur, belki olmaz. Göreceğiz bunu.
So actually I opened a different tab for that, just to keep listening to the commentary. But yeah, the first thing that kind of struck me was that we saw 3 engines spool up, but only 2 actually produced visible fire. And I actually compared the leftmost one with the 20-second engine static fire test that we saw 3 weeks ago, because it seems like it is somewhere around that same neighbor that also ignited for that test. And that one, for example, was completely blocked by the OLM leg, one of the ones on the left, and we still saw the engine firing. And it's like, I'm wondering if even with that, like, I think it aborted. Like, even with that, if you compare it, we're probably.
Acaba abort sebebi ne olur onu düşünüyorum da, yani cidden motor kısmı acayip karmaşık bir şekilde beyin yakıcı bir şey. Bizden herhangi bir tahmin yapmaktan da çok korkuyorum yani. Ne desem yanlış da çıkabilir.
Spin up of the engine, spooling up and everything. That stream of venting coming up from the nozzle, and then it just disappears. It doesn't, and you don't see any Mac diamonds. You don't see any of that. And yeah, I think that's a clear indication of no engine ignition. Now, that being said, I will totally be glad to be wrong. Let that be clear.
Yeah, well, Dean in our chat is saying, should we have a poll on how many engines fired? I think we can make that a reality.
Yeah.
But I mean,
yani şu an tek isteğim sonların tamamen bitip şey olması yani, artık biraz daha ilerlememiz testler, yani daha fazla ateşleme görmek, yani daha fazla sayıda ateşleme görmek.
Here's a good question.
İnan tweet atacak mı acaba? Onlara bakıyorum. Bir anda aslasın biraz daha şey görsek.
Who is asking, I legit feel that stage 0 testing is more important to SpaceX than static fires just now. Less dramatic for tank launchers, but every day it's still standing is a win. What do you think about that in terms of like the priority of testing procedures at this point?
I do kind of agree with that, but I will point out that these engine tests, for example, also test the GSC. So you're kind of having a 2-for-1. Like, you're testing one thing, but you also are testing another thing at the same time. So you're getting two things just for the effort of just doing one. So I will argue that even though we want them to get the GSC right, but we also want to see static fire test happening and ramping up to 33 engines. I will argue that both can be done at the same time. So the more static fire tests that we see, the better for us, and the better for them too. As Jack will say, more data, more better.
Right, because at the end of the day, right, this is science in action, right? I mean, this is having a hypothesis, testing it, looking at the data, and understanding if the hypothesis is correct or not. And if it is, you've validated your data models. If it's not, something needs to tweak. What needs to tweak? The model or the vehicle? This is how you do it.
Yep. So we're seeing, for example, one of the indications normally that they're pulling down things is, apart from the depress vent that we saw just a few minutes ago, it's also the engine shield line is defrosted, or at least with very, very little ice on it. We're also seeing that the recondenser active on the orbital tank farm, which usually indicates a D-tank is in process right now. So yeah, we're seeing now it's pulling down all activity. And frankly, I wouldn't expect any more testing for the day for Booster 7, but only because I think they're gonna take this time now to, you know, analyze the data and take the time to look at it and progress, you know, make more progress. Maybe next time we'll see, I don't know, 6 engines, 9 engines. We'll do another poll for that, right? How many engines?
Tayland daha az önce ateşlendi. Biraz daha yayın geri olarak görebilirsin. Şu an sadece beklemeyiz ne olacağıyla ilgili. Eğer bir daha ateşleme olursa yani kaçırmamak için yayındayız.
But the real answer is honestly like that's going to depend on what they saw today, right? Like, because today I can almost guarantee you today with multiple engines firing on the OLM was not just about getting multiple engines firing, but it was about understanding the acoustics, understanding the dynamic, understanding the vibration loads that are going through the OLM and the booster at that point as those engines are igniting, right? It's gathering that piece of the data as you keep adding more and more. So you can keep adding more and more engines, right, into the firing plan for testing. But I would bet you that part of today was understanding not just the characteristics of the engine start sequence inside the booster, but how those stresses, how those vibrations and the acoustics translate through the structure, validating those engineering models. Because one thing that I'm not surprised to see today is the staggered start sequence. Because really, really, really powerful engines like the Raptor 2s and the RS-25s, and even the Merlin 1Ds need to start in staggered formation for the acoustic considerations in the aft part of the vehicle. Because basically, if you light them all at the same time, you can have overpressures, you can inundate your area with acoustics that could make things leak, that could rupture things, but that slight staggered start sequence translates all those loads to the vehicle in a very safe way for engine start.
Bak bu güzel bir teori. Çünkü şöyle dediğin gibi yani dış halka motoru, yani dış halkanın ateşleyici yeri, yani ateşleme kısmı, yani ateşleme için ihtiyaç duyduğu nitrojen yani rampadan geliyor. Rampadan nitrojen mi gelmedi acaba? O merak konusu. Ama aslında ateşleyici içinde herhalde.
Yeah.
Someone in chat saying wait until they do 7 of 9 engines. I appreciate the continued Star Trek references here today. Beautiful chat. Keep them coming. But no, honestly, like yeah, Adrian. Sorry. Yes, Alex. That is. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, Alex. I'm so sorry.
It's not bad being German.
That's also true. And Adrian's a very good guy too. If there's someone to be confused with, it is him. But no, just very seriously, gathering that extra data on long duration hold down firings is not a bad idea either. Yeah.
Someone just pointed out, how can be detanking if we see no vents and boosters are still chilled? Well, you don't need the booster to be venting for it to be detanking. They have the QDs on the booster, and that basically helps filling and draining the booster. So you don't see the frost immediately fading away. You usually see it going a little bit down and it just fades away.
Vücudun platinden biri uzaya çıkamıyor. Çıkabilir aslında. Şöyle çıktı da SpaceX'in geçen yıl gerçekleştirdiği Inspiration 4 görevinde Haley Arsenault'un bir bacak protezi vardı. Platin ya da özür dilerim. Tam emin değilim. Ya şeydi ya, vücudunda bulunan şey bacağındaki eklemler arasındaki bir şey boşluğu dolduruyordu. Bununla ilgili bir protezi vardı diyeyim en azından. Çıktı.
If there wasn't indeed a board there, we might actually see all 3 engines firing for a long period of time. Which we will expect that to be about 20 seconds more or less, right? Just like we saw with a single engine. The only difference though when they did the long duration one was that engine was different from the one that they fired the previous day, well, 2 days before, which was a short one. So it was different engines, but still we might be able to see might be on the cards for next testing, and afterwards we might be going for more engines. I will say I'm thinking the next group will be 9 engines. 9 engines.
Şimdi bakalım sonraki hedef ne olacak acaba? Daha fazla mı motor şey yapacak, ateşleyecek mi? Bu önemli. Şimdi sonra ardından ne gelecek bunun? Ya bugün olmayacak kesin de.
And then another 3 from the 20. That's my guess at least. But that's probably a little bit of like a few days away.
Indeed. Alrighty, so looking, keep the questions coming. Please keep the questions coming. We are looking for everything, but I do definitely want to say, Zondorian, thank you so much for becoming a Padrat member. That really, really means a lot to us. Brent Freeze as well, Padrat. Looking at ADHD becoming a red team member.
Hocam bir daha hadi soğutsak.
Tom becoming a Padrat member as well. Thank you. That continued support really means a lot to us. Aaron with the Capcom membership, that gets you access to our Discord. So if you like all the fun joking, especially that Jack and I do back and forth, well, now you can have it 24/7 in your life with our Discord if you come to the Capcom level. So thank you very much for that.
Just continue to think of all of these as Pokemon saying like Capcom. I can't get it out of my head.
That's awesome. I like that. Oh my god.
Muhabbet güzel. Tek kişi olunca muhabbet zor dönüyor.
John with a Padrat member.
Ezgi 9 motor olabileceğini söylüyor. Umarım bu olur. Gel şimdi merkeze baktığımızda kaç motor var? Merkezde 10'dan fazla motor var yani baktığımız zaman. Yani etrafında 10, o merkezde 3 tane var. Şimdi 9 neye göre? Bence sorun dış halkalar denemek. Dış halka motoru denemekte. Gerçi ateşliler evet ama bence denemeleri lazım.
Here's a good question for you. Do you think they have applied to the FAA for a launch license yet?
Oh yeah, I do think so. The only difference here is that launch license stuff is usually a little bit more behind the scenes than for example the environmental assessment that they did. And also I will say I will totally expect them to need some of these testing to be completed first. We've seen on other rockets, like I'm thinking Astra, for example, or Firefly, they had submitted for a launch license, but they needed to complete testing beforehand, or as it happened for Astra, for example, one of those times they were returning to flight, and they had like these.
Buzlar deneme yavaş olur da Barış. Şu an şeyden bahsediyor Nesef, onu dinliyorum ben. Uçuş lisansı konusundan bahsediyor.
They had another one for launch. Now, Starship has already pre-launch testing covered by another license. differently from this. So in theory, all they might only need to do is actually finish that pre-launch testing, and then they will have all the data needed to feed that into the paperwork for the full kind of thing that they need to do for the launch license, for the full launch license. Now, does that mean that they need to complete all the testing on the ship and the booster, like all of them? I don't think so. I think probably with just completing testing on the booster and the ships separately, for example, that might be enough. And then in the time that it will take them to get that launch license, they can do combined stacking tests. So you put the ship on top of the booster. Now you load it with the propellants. You test the countdown sequence. You fire 33 engines with the ship on top. Like that kind of thing might be interesting to do and gather more data as the
Belki bugünlük bitmemiştir hala ya. Ne dersiniz?
But as I say, I do think it's probably hanging on some of those test milestones to be completed. And once we see that progress, I do think we might see the launch license dropping at any time. But that's my total guess.
Yeah. And James Mays here in chat is
Sanırsam rekorumuz S9'dan kalma ya.
Is refrosting, but I believe you were telling me earlier, Adrian. Dang it, I did it again. Alex, why am I doing this? I am so sorry. Oh my god, I feel so embarrassed. Yeah. I know you are Alex. I'm so sorry. I believe you were telling me a little bit earlier, Alex, that that's actually expected when they detank, correct?
Yeah, so usually what happens is that the engine still vents after, like, while they're detanking. We see that on the ships. The only difference that on the ships is really noticeable. Like, you see the venting from the sides of the ship and everything. And but here all you have is the lines. The lines that go into the engines for capturing the methane for the engine chill. Now, that means that when they're detanking the booster, you might see the same behavior here. So right now I'm seeing some of the frost actually go down a little bit. I'm doing A/B checks here, and I do see the frost coming down a little bit here. But you might see the engines getting a little bit chilly and a little bit frosty from time to time. Now, when do we know they're actually going again, like we did before? Well, when the frost, instead of decreasing, is going up again.
Yani şu an bekleyeceğiz yine. Yani bir daha ateşleyeceklerini bildiğimiz tek zaman, ya yani Enes'in dediği gibi buz eridiğinde değil de yeniden buzlanmaya başlandığında.
That's probably on the cards for today as well, but we'll see.
Yeah, and we are working on the replay, so we will definitely have a replay for you. We'll have a replay here for you, but we're working on it and getting those angles together. So bear with us. We're hoping to be able to bring that to you. So here's another good question here for you, Adrian. Do you think it's possible to test Booster 7 with a hop, no Starship on top, and possibly catch it? Thought it would be cool to see. Thanks, Matthew, for the support as well with that. Alex, talking while muted?
Oh, excuse me, I didn't see the question.
Do you think it's possible to test Booster 7 with just a hop, no Starship on top, and possibly catch it?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think that they're going ahead with I think they're going ahead with a launch. Because if you're gonna fly the booster, why not put a ship on top, right? Like,
yeah,
that's sort of the reasoning here.
Buz eriyor yavaştan. Erdiğini görürüz.
With a $10 membership, $10 super chat saying, a gift membership and lit engines on my 60th birthday. Can it get any better? Let's go ship 24. Well, first off, happy birthday, Carl. Having engines light on your birthday is always fun, and those are always the best birthday candles as far as I'm concerned. So happy birthday. Let's see if we can get you some more on ship 24, definitely there. And congratulations on the gifted membership, too. Hopefully you enjoy some of the perks that come along with that. So thank you. Maha, thank you for becoming a PadRat member. Andy becoming a PadRat member as well. And Maha, just with the support, thank you very much. And again, yep, we're working on replays, hoping to bring those to you here, but just bear with us a little bit on that. Space Invader, Space Invader, love it, with $5 saying, it looks like they had at least a 3-engine static, maybe a 4th from the front leg. Yeah, definitely people are really scouring this to see what they could see here. But here's a good question for you, Alex. How come there's still vapor venting from the engines right now if they're detanking?
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that was actually something that I pointed out before that when they're detanking, you still have some leftover on the edges, sensation on the left side near the bend down the leg. So you still have seen those engine chill lines a little bit frosty because of that. But again, we're seeing the LOX tank getting defrosted again. So as long as they do not load again, I'm gonna hinge on them to just be detanking and saving the vehicle. Now, if I do see them loading more propellants again, then yeah, I will go ahead and call for a recycle again. But that was a deep.
Evet, şimdi boşaltma geldi. Bugün sonlandırıyoruz gibi ha. İki motor. Üçüncü motor pek başarılı ateşlendiği söylenemez.
Exactly. Sometimes it's fun to just listen to the audio.
Yeah.
Şami ateşlenme oldu. Yayını biraz geriye alarak bunu görebilirsin. Ateşlenmeyi görebilirsin.
Yeah, there you go. That's a long depress vent. Yeah, and now I wouldn't be surprised if we see the engines, not the engines, the tanks cool down a little bit, because it's sort of this thermodynamic effect where when you have something that is pressurized and then you let the gas leave the tank, you usually get the tank gets colder. So I wouldn't be surprised.
Evet, bu konuda haklısın ya Adem. Çünkü yani normalde kısa bir süre içerisinde depreslerlerden yakıtın tamamını boşalttı. Bu sefer uzun bekledik.
To be able to call for an actual recycle. Otherwise it's just these just the tanks getting very, very cold that they freeze on the outside, the atmospheric vapor. And yeah.
So another good question here, Alex, for you from Crispy Bacon. He's saying, where is the engine chill line you keep talking about? I'm having a hard time seeing what you're seeing.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna try to describe it because I don't have like that in my goal. I don't have the painting tools and everything. So yeah, if you look at the handrail, you see there are multiple handrails, right, on the OLM. The lower one, you might see two circular pipes like they are going around.
O zaman bitirebiliriz burada ya. Burada bitirebiliriz.
That's the one that usually freezes and you.
O zaman arkadaşlar bu kadar diyebiliriz.
That's from the ice.
Ateşledik.
That's the one that is used for the.
Şimdi bırakalım en iyisi.
The other one a little bit higher up is the
bugün bir daha yayına girmem gibi zaten işim
about
var.
3 weeks
En
ago.
azından yani ateşlemeyi gördük. Bu da bir şey. İzlediğiniz için teşekkürler. Umarım ki beğenmişsiniz bu videoyu. Eğer ki beğendiyseniz yayınımızı beğenip paylaşıp bize destek olabilirsiniz ve aynı zamanda kanalımıza abone olup yeni içeriklerden haberdar olabilirsiniz. Uzay Çağında Yolculuk'ta bugün bu kadar. İyi akşamlar.
But instead what it does, it